The snow fell softly on the Thompson family estate, coating the immaculate gardens in white as I sat alone at the wrought-iron patio table. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the formal dining room, I could see my family gathered around the magnificent Christmas spread, crystal glasses glinting in the warm light. "Here's your plate, Kate," my brother Marcus had sneered earlier, handing me a china dish loaded with considerably smaller portions. "The patio is for failures. Wouldn't want what do you call it? Your tech startup conversations ruining Dad's important business dinner." I checked my phone discreetly, the blue light illuminating my simple but elegant Alexander McQueen dress. Not that they'd recognize the designer without obvious logos. A message from my COO flashed: "Merger documents finalized. Board votes unanimous. 45 minutes." Inside, I could see my father standing to make his annual Christmas toast. Richard Thompson, titan of traditional industry, celebrating another year of what he called real business. Manufacturing steel, concrete, things you could touch. Not like my internet nonsense, as he loved to remind everyone. "To family legacy," his voice carried through the glass. "To Thompson Industries' continued dominance, and to my son Marcus, who understands the true meaning of business leadership." My sister-in-law Victoria clinked her glass enthusiastically, her diamond bracelet catching the light. "And to keeping family traditions pure," she added with a pointed look through the window at me. "Some of us know our proper place in the business world." I smiled slightly, thinking of the documents being prepared on my private helicopter. Thompson Industries' dominance had been slipping for years, their stock price propped up only by my careful buying through shell companies. While they mocked my tech venture, I'd been quietly acquiring their suppliers, their distributors, and finally their company itself. "Miss." A catering staff member approached hesitantly. "Would you like more wine?" "No thank you," I replied, checking the time. "But you might want to clear some space in the garden. We're expecting a helicopter." Her eyes widened, but she nodded professionally. Working at elite events, she'd probably seen her share of dramatic entrances. My phone buzzed again. Media alerted. "Stock exchange prepared for announcement. Your father's company's shares already responding to merger rumors." Through the window, I watched Marcus hold court, gesturing grandly as he explained his latest innovation. A minor efficiency improvement that had probably cost millions in consulting fees. If he'd bothered to check his own company's software systems, he'd have noticed that the improvement had actually come from one of my tech subsidiaries, already integrated into their operations through a series of clever contracts. Kate's still playing with her computer games, I heard him tell the assembled guests, his voice carrying through a partially opened window. "While some of us are running real companies making real decisions. Real decisions like the one I'd made 6 years ago, when I'd walked away from my guaranteed position at Thompson Industries to start my own company." They'd laughed then, calling it a hobby, a phase, a tantrum. They weren't laughing now. They just didn't know it yet. "Richard," my mother's voice carried out to the patio, "shouldn't we at least invite Kate in for the toast? It is Christmas." "Nancy," my father replied firmly, "this dinner is for discussing serious business. Kate made her choice when she rejected our company's legacy for her internet experiments." I checked my phone one last time. Helicopter approaching. Press release scheduled. All systems go. The first distant thrum of rotor blades was barely audible over the dinner party's chatter. But I felt it, just as I'd felt the vibrations of change coming for years while my family remained oblivious in their bubble of traditional business. Inside, Marcus was reaching the crescendo of his speech about family legacy and proper business values. "Some people," he announced, glancing meaningfully toward the patio, "never understand what real success looks like. They chase digital dreams while real industry, real manufacturing, real business continues without them." The helicopter sound grew louder. Through the garden's frosted topiaries, I could see its lights approaching. My father raised his glass again. "To Thompson Industries. To real business. To..." The helicopter's searchlight suddenly illuminated the garden, casting dramatic shadows through the dining room windows. Conversations stopped mid-sentence as the aircraft, bearing my company's logo, descended onto the pristine lawn. Sometimes success doesn't need an invitation to dinner. Sometimes it arrives on its own with rotor blades and merger documents. I stood up from the patio table, brushing off a few snowflakes from my dress. Through the windows, I could see my family's frozen expressions as my helicopter landed in their perfectly manicured garden. They had made me eat in the garden at Christmas. I had brought the garden to them instead. The helicopter's blades slowed as my executive team emerged, each carrying briefcases containing different aspects of the merger documentation. Through the dining room windows, I watched the color drain from Marcus's face as he recognized Sarah Chin, my COO, or as he knew her, the mysterious consultant who'd been helping Thompson Industries modernize over the past year. "Kate," my father's voice carried through the now open patio doors, "what is the meaning of this interruption? We're having an important business dinner." "Oh, I know," I replied calmly, walking toward the helicopter. "That's exactly why I scheduled the merger announcement for tonight." "Merger?" Marcus choked on his expensive wine. "What merger?" Sarah approached with the first set of documents, her Louboutins somehow immaculate despite the snowy garden. "Miss Thompson, the papers are ready. Shall we proceed with the announcement?" Inside, the dinner guests, mostly Thompson Industries board members and their spouses, had abandoned all pretense of decorum, pressing against the windows to watch the scene unfolding in the garden. "You can't possibly mean..." My father started, his face flushing red. "Phoenix Technologies' acquisition of Thompson Industries?" I finished for him. "Actually, that's exactly what I mean. Though you might know Phoenix better by its subsidiary names, the tech companies that have been consulting for you this past year." Marcus rushed out onto the patio, his perfectly tailored suit collecting snowflakes. "This is absurd. We own Thompson Industries. Our family controls all the shares." "Not anymore," I said quietly, accepting the ownership documents from Sarah. "Phoenix has been acquiring shares through various holdings for the past 3 years. As of this morning, we own 67% of Thompson Industries." Victoria appeared behind her husband, her diamond bracelet catching the helicopter's lights. "But Phoenix Technologies is that massive tech conglomerate that's been revolutionizing traditional industries. Their CEO is some brilliant recluse who never appears in public." "Until now," I smiled slightly. "Though you might know me better as your failure sister-in-law who plays with computers." The sound of breaking glass came from inside. Someone had dropped their champagne flute. My mother appeared at the patio doors, her perfect hostess composure cracking. "Darling," she tried, her voice shaking, "surely we can discuss this as a family? Perhaps if you joined us for dinner instead of staying out here." "You mean the dinner I was banned from?" I raised an eyebrow. "Because I might embarrass the family with my internet nonsense?" My phone buzzed continuously now as news of the merger leaked to the financial press. Headlines were already starting to appear. "Phoenix Technologies to acquire Thompson Industries. Tech giant expands into traditional manufacturing. Mistritho revealed as heiress." "Your father's worked his whole life for this company," my mother protested weakly. "And nearly ran it into the ground," I replied, pulling up financial projections on my tablet. "Would you like to see the real numbers? The ones Marcus has been hiding from the board." Marcus's face went from red to white. "You can't prove." "Actually, I can. Phoenix's AI systems have been analyzing Thompson's books since we began acquiring shares. Shall we discuss the creative accounting? The hidden losses? The failed projects you've been concealing?" The board members inside had gone very quiet, their expressions shifting from shock to anger as they processed this information. "It's not possible," my father whispered, his Christmas toast forgotten. You just play with computers." "Those computers," I gestured to my helicopter where my team was unloading more documents, "just bought your entire company. Perhaps if you'd bothered to understand modern technology instead of dismissing it, you'd have seen this coming." Sarah stepped forward again. "Miss Thompson, the press is waiting for your statement. And the Asian markets open in 3 hours." "Of course," I nodded. "Time to introduce Thompson Industries' new direction to the world." "New direction?" Marcus sputtered. "You can't just walk in and change everything. I'm executive vice president." "Not anymore," I replied calmly. "Phoenix doesn't believe in nepotism. All executive positions will be reviewed for actual merit, not family connections." Victoria clutched her husband's arm. But our lifestyle, our position, should have been earned, not inherited," I finished for her. "Welcome to the modern business world." The snow continued to fall softly around us, coating the garden where I'd been exiled in a layer of white. Through the windows, dinner guests were frantically checking their phones, watching Thompson Industries' stock price respond to the leaked merger news. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with merger documents and helicopter entrances. The garden had become a surreal scene, the elegant Christmas decorations now backdrop to a corporate takeover, my helicopter's presence destroying the careful illusion of old money stability my family had cultivated for generations. The press release goes live in 5 minutes, Sarah announced, checking her tablet. Global markets are already reacting to the rumors. Thompson Industries stock is up 40% in after-hours trading. My father seemed to age years in moments, his commanding presence crumbling like the snowflakes melting on his bespoke suit. Katie, he tried, using my childhood name for the first time in years. You can't do this. Not on Christmas. Not to family. Family. I turned to face him fully. Like when you made me eat out here because my business discussions might embarrass you. Or when Marcus told every board member that I was a cautionary tale of wasted potential. Through the windows, the dinner guests were gathering their coats, the festive atmosphere completely shattered. Several board members were already on their phones, likely calling their lawyers. I had to protect the company's reputation, my father protested weakly. Your tech ventures seemed so unstable. Unstable. I pulled up more data on the massive screens my team had set up in the garden. Let's talk about stability, Dad. Phoenix Technologies' market cap is 12 times that of Thompson Industries. Our profit margins are triple yours. Our technology patents alone are worth more than your entire manufacturing division. Marcus stepped forward, desperation clear in his voice. Look, sis, maybe we can work something out. I have connections, contacts. Contacts. I laughed softly. You mean the venture capital firms you've been begging for bailout funds? They're all Phoenix subsidiaries now. Those meetings you thought were about saving your position? They were due diligence for our takeover. Victoria was frantically scrolling through her phone, her face growing paler by the second. The Forbes article. Phoenix's expansion. The acquisitions across 3 continents. That was all you. Every merger. Every acquisition. Every technological innovation you dismissed as playing with computers. I turned to my mother, who stood frozen in the doorway. Still think I should have taken that junior management position, Mom? The screens lit up with breaking news as the press release went live. My father's Christmas toast had been replaced by champagne bottles being opened in trading floors across Asia, as Thompson Industries stock soared on news of Phoenix's acquisition. Your severance packages are generous, I said, nodding to Sarah, who distributed more documents. Though given the company's performance under your leadership, it's more than you deserve. Severance. Marcus choked. You're firing us? Retiring you, I corrected. Immediately. The shareholders deserve better than nepotism and outdated management styles. My phone buzzed continuously now, congratulatory messages from business leaders, interview requests from major networks, and updates on the market's enthusiastic response to the merger. But the family legacy, my father tried one last time. Your grandfather built this company from nothing. And I'm saving it, I cut him off. From your mismanagement and Marcus's incompetence. The Thompson name will continue, but under competent leadership. Sarah stepped forward again. Miss Thompson, your live interview with CNBC is in 20 minutes. The helicopter needs to leave soon. Of course, I nodded, then turned back to my family. Oh, and don't worry about cleaning up the garden. The estate's new ownership will handle that. New ownership? My mother whispered. Yes. Phoenix acquired the property last month. Along with the country club, the marina, and most of the other properties you use to maintain your social status. I smiled slightly. Amazing what one can accomplish while eating Christmas dinner on the patio. The helicopter's blades began to spin up again, whipping the falling snow into mini cyclones around us. My executive team moved efficiently, packing up their equipment and documents. Katie, please, my father called out over the growing roar. We can work this out as a family. We stopped being a family, I replied, the moment you decided business success was more important than basic human dignity. Consider this my Christmas gift to Thompson Industries, competent leadership. Marcus made one last desperate attempt. The board won't stand for this. They'll fight the takeover. The board, I said calmly, voted unanimously in favor of the merger this morning. Turns out they'd rather have a CEO who understands modern business than one who inherited his position. As if on cue, several board members approached through the garden, their expressions serious. Ms. Thompson, the lead director, spoke up. We look forward to working with Phoenix Technologies. Your vision for modernizing Thompson Industries is exactly what we've been hoping for. My father's face crumpled as he watched his most trusted allies align with me. Victoria had sunk into a patio chair, her designer dress collecting snow as she stared at her phone, watching her social status evaporate in real time. One last thing, I said, pausing at the helicopter's door. The patio isn't for failures, Marcus. It's for people smart enough to watch and wait while others underestimate them. The aircraft lifted off, spraying snow across the ruined Christmas dinner scene. Below, my family stood frozen in the garden where they'd exiled me, watching their corporate empire transfer to the daughter they'd dismissed. They had made me eat in the garden at Christmas. I had bought the garden, and everything else they valued. Because sometimes success doesn't need a seat at the table. Sometimes it builds its own table, flies in on its own helicopter, and rewrites the entire menu. They had called the patio a place for failures. I had turned it into the stage for their greatest failure of all, underestimating the daughter they'd banished there. And as the helicopter banked toward the city lights, leaving behind a family learning too late about the power of the child they'd dismissed, I couldn't help but smile. Because sometimes the best success isn't achieved at the dinner table. Sometimes it's built in the garden, one snowy Christmas at a time.